Listen, I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same thing. Why is the silver car back?
Woo! It's go, 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 go time. Tick, tick, boom.
Get to work.
All right, so I don't know if you guys remember, it was a while ago we posted a video about the silver car. Sold it to one of my homies, engine blew on him. So we went down, picked up the car, and I swear this car does not want to live. Went down, picked it up. As soon as we got back on the freeway with the car, Suburban blows the tire. We're out in the middle of nowhere. So, great story. But we got back. It was a long night. Nevertheless, we got things handled. Got the car back here. We're going to tear into it. Definitely going to get a new motor. We got to figure out what's up with all the places that it caught fire. I'm suspecting it's just oil blasted out on the exhaust. So we'll go through that, check out all the things. I got a motor from the junkyard. I actually had to call a place, called all over the valley looking for one. There was one place that had one. He said 72,000 miles on it from a car that was in a front end collision. So went down, picked that up. So we got that on the stand. We'll tear into that. Definitely going to investigate a little bit, make sure everything on the internals is good to go, and we'll get rocking and rolling. Stay tuned.
So here's our replacement engine for the silver car. I go to start working on this thing. That doesn't look good. I mean, it came from a salvage. They pulled it out. It's got 72,000 miles on it from a front end collision. I'm not surprised to see the oil pan caved in. I am going to pop it off because we're going to want to take the oil pan off of the silver car and put it on here and take care of that. Plus it had some random drain plug in it, which does not bode well. But overall, she's a good engine. I'm going to check a couple of things. We'll pull her apart a little bit, double check, make sure that things are done right inside, and then we'll get this one popped back in the silver car. So let's get after it.
All right, we're definitely going to do this more project style. So instead of you guys having to watch me do the same thing over and over and over again, I'm going to cut you to the exciting parts. We'll keep you posted. So, tearing into this motor.
Alright guys, it may seem a little unnecessary, but we got her tore down. So a couple of things to note. This tensioner, I'm going to double check that looks like the new style tensioner, the one that's better and longer lasting. I'm going to go ahead and check the chain stretch and see where we're at, see if I need to move the timing chains over from the other motor to this one. Overall, I'm not seeing any sludge. I mean, there's a little bit of, you can see right there in the cracks, there's a little bit of gold haze, which just indicates the motor's been run. So I'm not seeing any sludge. So that's a good sign for our balance shafts. However, if we take a look at this, this is the cam bridge on the back side. This is that thing that I looked at on the other motor. There you go. See if I can get this to focus. This is on the motor we just pulled. So somewhere in the guts of this is the rest of that screen. So what that tells me is there's a real good chance I'm gonna have to pop these balance shafts out, which sucks because that's an extra 500 bucks or so on this motor to find what's left of that screen. So we could always hope we get lucky and it ended up in the oil filter. It did not get caught in the pickup, so that leads me to believe that it's still somewhere in the passageways. So, based on what I know already, somewhere in either this hole or that hole, both of which feed, these ones I believe go up into the cam and feed the cams. This one I believe goes into the motor and feeds the balance shafts. So we're gonna have to put some thought into that one. All right, guys, you tell me what you think. I think that looks bad. Look, you can even see where it came from. Oh boy. Okay guys, a little update. Since you guys can't seem to handle the heat out here, I've been doing all of this off camera and letting the camera stay cool. So basically we got the whole front end tore apart, got some of the wire harness out of the way, some of the stuff off the motor, making progress. Then I started digging into the back here where the fire was at. Look at this, melted right through it. So we got to get a new one of these at least, but we're gonna start getting into all the stuff that got burnt. So I'll keep you posted. All right, well, now that we got the motor out, we can do a little damage control. That's not looking good. Looks like we're gonna need a CV axle there. This one got caught up in the fire. All the bearings and stuff look to be in okay shape, but that one's gonna need some attention. Probably just get a new one of those too. Interesting, with all this stuff out, I can find all the nuts and washers and stuff that got lost. I'm impressed. I mean, a lot of this held up fairly well with the fire. Looks like most of the fire was up. This is all burnt. We got ash everywhere up here. So I'm gonna see what it takes to get this out of the way, and then we'll look at how much a new heat mat is gonna cost. But all in all, it fared pretty well. And then of course, you know, the old motor out. We got to do some autopsy on that and figure out exactly what happened. If I can get through here. You know, looking in there, I don't know if that'll focus for you guys. That's not looking good. That's all jammed up. That appears to be a bearing cap right there from the one that you can see just behind it there. So that's not good. There's a big dent. You can see the crack right there. So we got another impact here. Honestly, from what he was telling me, I mean, I was expecting this whole thing with the balance shaft to be gone. But then looking down in the cylinders, bent that valve. You can't really see those ones. So we're gonna get this one broke down, make sure everything's right on that, and then see what parts we need to order, and then we'll start the autopsy on this one. It is still blazing hot out here. I don't know how long you guys are gonna be able to hang. I'm guessing probably not long, but we're gonna put you on the time lapse and we'll see how you do. So let's get to work. Well guys, it's a good thing we broke it all the way down. Yeah. We're gonna do a full rebuild on this one, whether we like it or not. Not the news I needed, but it's the news we got. Alright you guys, we got her all broke down. If you look, the bores don't actually look too bad. I mean, they don't look good, but they're savable. Pop the balance shafts out and look through the junk pile here. If it'll focus on that. The screens on all of them looked good. So probably didn't need to pull those out, but better safe than sorry. I have one freeze plug that I knocked in on accident. I meant to spin it and I knocked it in. It's down inside this hole, so I'm going to take a minute, dig that out. But then otherwise this block is ready to go. I've got head and the oil tray and the cam cover. Those are all ready to go. So now I just got to pick a machine shop, get those pieces over to the machine shop and get them cleaned up. I think I'm probably just gonna have them hot tank and bead blast and then check them for flat, and we'll go from there. So I can hone the cylinders, I've got the tools for that, and we'll get some new piston rings. I've got one rod bearing that I'm gonna need to replace, but the rest of them look amazing. All of the main bearings looked amazing. So I think it really is a 72,000 mile motor, but when it was sitting at the junkyard, they filled this Hummer up with water. So the inside of the cylinders got rusted. Bunch of junk got down in there. So, I mean, in the long run, it's a good thing we tore it down all the way. It's a lot more work, a lot more money, but at least we know it'll be done right. So it is what it is, but that's where we're at. Alright, so as we crack into the autopsy on the busted motor, I see some scoring on all of these bearing surfaces. So that's less than stellar. That definitely tells me we got some oil starvation issues going on here. And then some of these lifters ended up in places where they don't belong. So whatever happened when this motor decided to go, it was exciting. I guess exciting is a word. So yeah, those cams are trash. Well guys, well, it's not looking good. We knew it was exploded, so not surprised. It's interesting to find some of the stuff that we're finding as we're going through this. Oh look, the kids on their mini bikes. So I'm gonna keep tearing it down. I'm gonna show you the carnage as we go. It's a good thing we get a good price for recycle around here. Alright guys, let me show you something. Focus. See that? If your balance shafts do that, they're garbage. Look at this one. Let's see if I can get steady here. See that tiny little bit? That says the bearings in there are wore out. So like this one, totally trashed. Let's see if I can get those out of there. For comparison, here's the brand new balance shaft. I can't even move it enough to anything. Nice and tight. So let me see if I can get those other ones out. Alright guys, I don't know if you can see that. There's a bunch of schmutz in the screen that goes into that bearing. That one's totally full of junk. That one's not too bad. But then she's toast. It's no wonder we couldn't get oil pressure. And then this end, that's where the water pump drive gear goes. Won't focus. But that's a bearing surface. It's not too bad, but it's kind of scored up. And then you can see where this went. Here's the one from the other side. Look at that junk. That one's not too bad. Got some junk in that one. That bearing surface looks okay, but same problem, loose bearing on that side. So hindsight is 2020. Balance shafts are shot. So here's our bottom end. I mean, honestly, those surfaces don't look too bad. The bearings looked good. I really need a shop. So the crank bearings looked really good. All of these surfaces look pretty good. You can see, obviously our bores are totally effed. So from what I can tell, what ended up happening is my balance shafts were oil starved. That caused the bearings to get loose, which caused a drop in oil pressure. With a drop in oil pressure, my rods, connecting rods, weren't getting enough oil. Number 4 must have spun a bearing, and in a short amount of time, number 4 decided to let go. Rodney has left the chat. After number 4 went, number 3 went in short order. Ejecto-ceto right out the side of the block. And number 4 ended up pinned, locked up the crank, and the rest is history. So she was banging around in there. I mean, honestly, if you were at 1,000 RPM, the number of hits that this thing took, it would have taken mere seconds for this motor to go. So one thing I know, balance shafts are gonna be a must from here on out. And it's a good thing I get a good price on recycle, because holy moly, this one's toast. Live and learn. I'm glad nobody got hurt. Pretty spectacular failure, but we gotta finish getting her broke down, get her ready for the recycle. Hey, on to bigger and better things, right? Okay, let's get to work, people.